When I was younger, I'd go to a restaurant with my parents or grandparents or anyone I was with, and I got bored. I would do what any normal red-blooded kid would do. I'd figure out something to do. And if there weren't any crayons to color or something to cry about, you'd take the glass of water and you would start adding stuff to it, right? You'd add a little Coke, you'd add some sugar, you'd add some ketchup, syrup, mustard, barbecue sauce, fries, anything you could get your hands on. You even throw some of those crayons that you were using before in there, and you'd mix it up, right? Just for something to do. You took a perfectly crystal clear glass of water that you could drink and function with and use, and more importantly, see through. You could see through that glass of water. You could see what was in the glass. You could see through the glass. You could see with that clarity of the water. Everything you added, sugar, dirtied the water. Everything you added, ketchup, made it cloudy. You couldn't see through the water anymore. You didn't know what was in there, in a sense, right? If you came into a glass of water that a kid just got, if your lake was that glass of water that kid just got done chucking everything on the table in, and you were thrown into that, you couldn't see anything. You'd be blinded. You'd have to guess. You'd have to hope that what you were seeing in front of you, which was basically nothing, you just have to guess your way through, right? You'd have to figure it out. Now, if your lake was clear, the kid hadn't done anything to it yet, and you were thrown into a clear lake, you could see. You could see what's going on. You could see what's around you. You could see what's happening. Pretty simple. Nothing secret about that. No magic bullet, nothing. Now think about all of our preferences, right? I don't remember exactly what it's from, but it basically goes, the great way is not difficult for those with no preferences. Now, in a world where everything is a preference, everything is a choice, everything's a label, we've got to identify, we got to figure out who we are, that just makes absolutely no sense to the masses. But take that crystal clear water, that crystal clear consciousness, that ability to see what's around you, that ability to see things how they are without your own fears and insecurities, that ability to just be, that's there at all times. Add ketchup, add sugar, add anything you want to it, but that water at some point, when not messed with, that stuff will settle to the bottom, right? Like the dirt of a lake settles to the bottom. You don't mess with it, it clears up. You can see again. So think about all the preferences you have, all the labels you have, all the boxes you have, all the things you've been taught, all the things you've learned, all the things you think you are, based off of how you grew up, where you grew up, your influences, etc. You have that clarity to see. You have that clarity to be, that clarity to help family members and your kids, and see things clearly in business and see things clearly at home, and however you want to be in this world. But let's look at sugar when you add it to the water. Let's add a little sugar, right? Let's consider that religion, atheism, Catholicism, Mormonism, Muslims, whatever it is. Let's throw a little ketchup in there, right? Maybe that's politics. Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever it is you're fighting for, whatever division you're causing, throw a little ketchup in there, right? Mustard, barbecue sauce, French fries, crayons, ice cream, all your preferences. Every time you have a choice, every time you identify with something, every time you have to dig your heels in and fight for what you think is correct, yet the next person sitting next to you, who may be one of your best friends, thinks the polar opposite. So they're wrong, you're right, and they think you're wrong and they're right. Every preference, you're taking that crystal clear clarity that you were born with and adding sugar. You're adding ketchup, you're adding barbecue sauce, you're adding dirt. You're dirtying your own lake. It's not society, it's not the world. It's you. Your choice, your boxes, your constructs, your need to be a part of a group, your need to be a part of a party, or think that you're right and everyone else is wrong, and vice versa. How we don't see as grown adults that Half the world is Republican and thinks Democrats are crazy. And the other half of the world is Democrats and think Republicans are crazy. How do we think we're going to get anywhere? How do we not understand that all those preferences are just dividing us and holding us, restricting us from actually having the clarity to see things how they are without a atheist view or a Catholic view or a Republican view versus a Democrat? Every time you walk into a situation with a business, with a family member, with a friend, with any situation, any choice you choose on this planet, with a bias, game's over. All division. You have access to that crystal clear water, that cup of water that started out the lunch or the dinner that you were at your family with. You have access to that silence, that clarity at all times. So the only question is, who are you without the labels? Who are you without being Catholic? Who are you without being Democratic? Who are you without being an executive? Who are you without being inferior? Who are you without the fears, the worries, the insecurities? Who are you without all of those boxes and constructs that you have been told you need to function? In this moment right now, as you listen to this voice, what is Democratic? What is Republican about this moment? What is Catholic about this moment? What is right or wrong about this moment? This moment, right now, just this moment. No preferences, no boxes, no constructs. Tell me what it is. Who are you in this moment? Who are you past the labels? What happens with that fear you have when you don't have a label? Can you lean into that fear? Can you lean in understanding that things are going to be just fine without constantly having to dig your heels in and tell the world who you are, who you voted for, what your beliefs are, when the person next to you thinks the polar opposite? Who's right? Who's wrong? What are you past all the labels, all the boxes? What are you past your religious beliefs? What are you past your political beliefs? What are you past all of that? There will be no answer given on this recording. All I'm asking is lean into that question. Don't fear it. See what happens.